Welcome to Yes Users podcast. Get ready for another exciting episode where we dive deep into the minds of industry leaders and visionaries shaping the future of technology and entrepreneurship. Today, we have a phenomenal guest with us who is doing amazing work in the realm of business growth and customer experience analytics. Joining us is Manuel Oothria Raj, the Chief Growth Officer at Clootrack. With over 20 years of experience, Manuel has an impressive track record of building and scaling businesses from the ground up, generating millions in revenue and fostering a culture of innovation and experience. His expertise spans across strategic business planning, enterprise sales, and GTM strategy. So, whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business professional, or someone passionate about the SaaS industry, stay tuned as we explore Manuel's journey, insights, and the secrets behind his remarkable success. Let's dive in.
Manuel, welcome to Yes Users podcast.
Thank you very much for having me, Avinash. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. For our listeners who are unaware of your profile, would you care to give them a brief introduction?
Sure. So my name is Manuel, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Clootrack. Been in the business for the last 20 years. Started my journey with a media giant, Times of India. Spent almost 50% of my career working with ad tech companies such as Times of India, Midday, Yahoo, LinkedIn, Luchini. And I also spent almost 30% of my career working with companies which are in MarTech ecosystem, which includes CleverTap, AppsFlyer, and very briefly, with a fintech company called Reco, which got acquired by Stripe, and also very briefly with a company called Minglebox, which is an edtech company. Currently, I work for a customer experience startup called as Clootrack. So that's a quick overview about myself. I've had the pleasure of working both in large companies and startups. I've had the pleasure of building teams and business, taking it to the next level. So that's a quick overview about myself, Avinash.
That's really interesting. So which one are better, startup or enterprise? Quickly.
Startup.
Startup. Wow. Now you're not going to get a well-paying, cushy job, right? So why is that? Why, in your opinion, startups are better to work at?
Yeah. So I think since I said I've had the pleasure of working both with startups and enterprise, enterprise has a different set of challenges. Startups have a different set of challenges, right? But the ability to build something in terms of process, the ability to build business, and when you look back, maybe after 5 years or so, and that is simply satisfying and gratifying. I've also had the best times with the likes of Yahoo and Times of India as well. But if you ask me which are those key moments that you would relish and cherish, I would say startup, because it gives you a lot of experience. It gives you a lot of exposure. It allows you to make mistakes and it allows you to build something incredible. So which is why I like startups.
Yeah. Well said. So over your long career, could you share a pivotal moment or project that truly defined your path as a business leader?
Yes. Well, I started my journey with Times of India and subsequently with Midday. I was an advertising sales guy. But in 2008, I had the opportunity to, shift to digital ecosystem. I had the opportunity to join Yahoo as part of their sales team in India, which was very pivotal for me because back then the digital ecosystem was just growing, digital marketing was just growing. And I remember we didn't have digital marketeers then, we didn't have social media marketeers then. So it was just the beginning of the ecosystem. And I had the privilege of working with the best of the best. I spent 3 years in Yahoo, 4 years at LinkedIn, and subsequently other companies. So I'm grateful that I could have that opportunity to move to digital at that point in time and see how digital ecosystem has grown in the last 18 odd years.
Right. So how was your experience working at Yahoo?
Amazing. At that point in time, Yahoo was a leader in terms of your Yahoo Mail or Yahoo Messenger. Those were some of the key platforms within Yahoo that you had, and huge amount of users. And I think what went into my experience with Yahoo is within the 3 years that I spent year and a half focusing on Bangalore, Bombay, and Delhi, certain verticals. But year and a half, I started working with the emerging markets in India, such as, Chennai, Kochi, Hyderabad, Pune, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, all of these markets. So I kind of created a reseller ecosystem, evangelized, started working with them. What interests me during that journey is basically people who were just understanding digital. And thankfully, when I joined in 2008, it was also a recession, right? People stopped spending on television. People stopped spending on print because it was huge investment. So there's a time that I think we optimized digital, one, because it was less expensive. Two, it was also measurable and trackable. So I think that was the greatest experience. And working with these tier 2 markets and emerging markets at that point in time gave immense amount of experience. And I still like some of the deals that we cracked at that point in time. One was being Amul, right? You have this utterly butterly delicious girl. They come with very tactical and topical creators, right? And most often, even the marketing heads at Amul themselves don't know what's going to happen. But Mr. Sylvester Dakuna creates that. And what we said is, listen, people look at this next day in television, or they look at it in newspaper typically. Why can't we, go live the same day on Yahoo, right? So that's the deal that, again, it's very close to my heart, but immense amount of experience building digital and, in emerging markets.
Wow. So when you joined Yahoo back in 2008, did you get any ESOPs at that time? No, it's a long story now. It's a very old story. Tell us.
I did. I had some RSUs because Yahoo was public by then, but I didn't cash on it because there was a stipulated time of 3 years. But 3 months before I completed 3 years, I had an opportunity to join LinkedIn as one of the early employees in India. I was the first one in Bangalore to join and set up the business, build the business, and build the team. So I couldn't refuse that offer to join LinkedIn back then. So I wouldn't regret of not cashing on Yahoo shares. By the way, it was also very low at that point in time.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on a whole acquisition saga, right? At one point they wanted, like Google wanted Yahoo to acquire them. They refused, right? Then Microsoft wanted to acquire Yahoo. They said no, right? And ultimately they were acquired by T-Mobile. So what is your thought as an outsider, obviously? What are your thoughts on that whole saga?
I think timing is important.
Right.
And as a founder, you need to know when you need to let go, right? Not keep holding things to you, right? And I think it's all about intuition. It's all about how you're the ability to think big and think small together at the same point in time. If you had the opportunity to acquire Google, they could have acquired, but I don't know if Google would have become so big under Yahoo, right? So I think that's also perception, or rather, intuition that you need to have. The ability, if you can create that as a separate business unit and run it. On the contrary, here's another interesting example, right? I mean, LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft, and LinkedIn is still a separate business unit under Microsoft. So LinkedIn does its own, and hence they are able to grow massively, right? Even post-acquisition. So it's about, letting go of certain things and controlling certain things. I think you need to know when you need to let go and when you need to hold.
Wow. Yeah, that's very true. So you spoke about LinkedIn. Tell us, how was your experience working at LinkedIn?
I think LinkedIn was an amazing experience. I spent close to 4 years at LinkedIn. I've seen LinkedIn grow from very minimal users to multi-million users. Back then, we didn't have co-working space, so there used to be called business centers. So we took a 4-seater in Bangalore. By the time I left after 4 years, we were at a 500-seater. Right now, it's a 1,000-seater in Bangalore. So I've seen that evolution. I've seen how business evolving, how marketers evolved to consume content and relate to LinkedIn. So I think fundamentally, there were some great experience for me as an employee of LinkedIn. This company focused on culture and value immensely. I think if I'm an advocate of culture and value today, I think it's because of LinkedIn. Just taking an example, right? I mean, we used to have the sales kickoff every year, January in the US. The theme of that sales kickoff would be either one of the culture or value statements. And culture and value is not written on boards and walls and desktops. It is how people live. And personally, I feel culture and value is a top-down approach, right? If the leader doesn't do it, you can't expect people under you to follow it, right? And it is lead by example, right? You cannot just expect, someone to do it and you not doing it, right? So I think culture and value is important for any organization, and I learned the most at LinkedIn. So my experience has been grateful at LinkedIn.
And did you finally encash your ESOPs in LinkedIn, or you didn't?
And of course, I joined at a very interesting time. I joined in Feb 2011, and LinkedIn went public on May 2011. I did encash, and I must say I made some good monies there. More than money, I think I had a great experience working with people there.
Wow. So now let's talk about Clootrack, right? So please explain to our listeners what Clootrack does and what problem is it solving.
Absolutely. So Clootrack is a customer experience analytics platform. We help users to understand the why behind customer experience. So we are a 7-year-old company, Series A funded, and we started this journey back in 2017, right? And the understanding at that point in time was there were a lot of, customer experience tool, but it was very minimal or suboptimal. And the evolution of customer experience back then started with surveys, right? Still now, surveys is the most used tool by a lot of brands, right? Now, if you run surveys or you run manual tagging, generation one of customer experience, the challenges where it was a long effort, it used to take a lot of time, it could be prone to erroneous, and also sometimes it was biased because the questions are designed by you and you get to hear only what you want to hear. Moving on to next generation, where there were a lot of social listening platforms, there were the additional analytics layers that were added on platforms. But that being said, the results were they were fragmented analytics. Again, no two systems were talking to each other, so they were all working in silos. And most importantly, the social media listening tools work on a rigid taxonomy. You need to go and give keywords to the system saying that if somebody's talking about pricing, delivery, product, ability, then you create a messaging or send me an alert, then I will know what's happening, right? Moving on to the third generation, people started building their own, data sciences team, started building, customer data platforms. They started working on APIs and crawling, to solve for customer experience. Well, that's good. But this is going to take a lot of money, time, and effort. And to see results, it's going to take 18 to 24 months, which is where Clootrack comes in very seamlessly, does this whole job seamlessly, and gives you actionable results. So what do we do? Today, customers are looking at your NPS data. They're happy when it goes up high. They're sad when it goes down, right? But nobody goes deeper to identify why it went up, why it came down, right? So basically, if you go down, then you see, is it because you're doing well or is it because your competitors are not doing well? So that's the understanding that we go. So we go and look at collecting your internal data.
So how would you measure that, right? Instead, for instance, right, my competitors are shitty, right? So you'll go and see that, they are negative reviews are being posted on it, and the engagement at my platform is working, like hypothetically, obviously, right? So is that the way your AI model will predict that, it's because of the competitor I'm doing well?
Yeah. So what we do is a very, very deeper analysis of the data, right? So we look at collecting your internal data. That could be your NPS, CSAT, CRM data, call center data, any interaction that happens between a brand and the end consumer. We also look at external publicly available data, right? Which is Google reviews, Play Store, App Store reviews, social media mentions, news, blogs, articles, forums, and communities. Importantly, we merge both of this data. And the first thing that we do is we eliminate the noise. We remove all the irrelevant data because you're collecting public data. There could be a lot of duplicates. There could be paid reviews, bot reviews, just a rating, just one word review. So we remove all of this irrelevant data without any human intervention, right? Because we've been in the business for the last 7 years. We've ingested over 60 billion data points. We understand when a human speaks, when the human writes versus when a machine speaks or writes, right? So once this noise is eliminated, we then run analysis of that data. And, there are multiple things that we do, right? So basically, we build models on top of LLMs. We've been working with OpenAI since last 6 years, and they've also graded us as an enterprise.
Open AI with last 6 years?
Yes.
Like, how would like that so seems unique. Like, because whenever you talk about OpenAI, everybody is like, it's because of the chat. Recently, the Chat GPT came out in last year. Then most of the people started working with OpenAI. Well, how is so different with you?
Yeah. So because we wanted to automate a lot of these processes, right? We didn't want to have so basically we've been working with OpenAI since last 6 years, right? And when we started building this model, right? And we wanted to make sure that all of these is automated, right? We didn't want to have any human intervention in the first place, right? So that it becomes very seamless. It is not error prone. So which is where we started looking at tools and options, and we found partnership with OpenAI. And also we built a lot of models, customized models on top of our LLMs, right? Because we understand the nuances of languages. We work with a lot of customers across the globe. Language, dialects, and sensitivity becomes very, very important. So once the entire analysis is done, we move that data into a dashboard with some amazing, visualization, right? At a very high level for a brand person or a customer experience, consumer insight person, you'll get to see top 15, 20 reasons why customers are happy. What are you doing good? Top 15, 20 reasons why your customers are unhappy, where there is scope for improvement. Interestingly, this is all back traceable. You can go to the granular level insights, click on it, and you'll find the exact verbatim as to what customers are talking, right? You will not be able to capture all of these in your NPS, right? Because it's all rating 1 to 9, 1 to 10, or whatever that number is, right? The ability to understand realistically what your customers are speaking is what you see in the public forums, right? So if I have to put this in a nutshell, we are a single source of truth. We have the ability to ingest, millions of data, remove the noise, run analysis, and give you actionable insights. Last thing is because we have the ability to extract your data from public platforms, we can also extract, competitors' data also from public platform, which is where, in the same dashboard, you will also be able to understand benchmarking and competition analysis as well.
Wow, that's really interesting. Maybe this is something you don't want to talk about, but I'm really curious to know how is it different working with the OpenAI 6 years ago, and how is it working with them right now? Because once you started that association, right, they were a very small fish. Now they're a big deal. So does that show in their behavior?
It shows in the pricing.
So somewhere it is showing. Somewhere it is showing. Okay.
Amazing experience, right? I mean, they also learned from us. We've also learned from them. There's a lot of two-way exchange, right? It's not that it's easy. Their machine also learns from the kind of queries that we run, the kind of data that we share, right? We've also learned a lot from them, right? So I think that's been enriching in the last 6 years.
That's really interesting. So tell us something about the milestone about Clootrack that you wanted to share.
I think one of the things that we're doing as part of our go-to-market this year is also expand our business and focus on Middle East as a market, because we see this huge amount of customer experience professionals, consumer insights professionals, data and analytics professionals there. I think from a maturity standpoint of view, I feel Middle East is little ahead, from an Indian context perspective. So we are expanding and are focusing our business in Middle East. We are obviously doubling down in the US market. That's where our major market or main customers work out of. So we continue to focus on US market. And also we have good customers here in India. So we continue to focus on them, help them grow, solve for all the use cases that they have. So from a milestone perspective, obviously we want to double our revenues from where we are today. And I think it's going to be very, interesting journey from here on.
So what's your current revenue?
We are anyways in the range between $3.5 to $4 million. That's where.
Wow, that's really huge, yeah. Kudos to the founders and your team for achieving this milestone in such a short span. From good source, we have heard that you are really good at managing strong relationships with C-suite executives, right? So what's your secret sauce? If I want to start a startup in SaaS, right, which a lot of entrepreneurs from India wants to do, how should we build this relationship?
My secret sauce is ignore the designation and position. The other person is just another person. He's a human, right? You're able to build that human connection, and I think relationship will go a long way. And relationship is two-way. It's not only asking, but it's also giving, right? And maybe giving may not be in business or in kind, but it's about giving time, talking to that person, giving quality time, undivided attention. All of this matters, right? I think back in the day when I started my journey as a sales guy in 2005, the first job that I was told is to go to that big table that is there. You will find all of the newspapers lying there. Go and figure out in which competitive newspaper you find some ads and where you've not got it, right? And back in the day, you used to know the birth date of your customers, anniversary date of your customers. And those were the moments that, you would go and say, hello, sir, happy birthday, wedding anniversary, and so on and so forth. Today, we are spread with so much of data about any person, right? There is plenty of data that's available on online resources. There's a lot of footprints that we leave as individuals, right? LinkedIn has the best data of you. Maybe add it with Facebook and in Instagram, you will find a lot of things, right? So I think if you're able to build those relationships using some data points that you get to see, make your conversation interesting, don't always be pushy, respect their time and effort. I think those are some of the interesting things that I feel relationship can go a long way, right? And I follow simple criteria, right? Whenever I'm traveling, whenever I'm driving, if I have 30 minutes, I tend to make at least 3 to 4 calls, right? To my friends, to my ex-colleagues, to my managers, whoever that may be, right? Just stay in touch because this is one life, life is so unpredictable today, right? So it is important that you have those relationships, continued until you're here on this earth.
Wow, great insights. Even though I don't support calling someone when you yourself is driving a car, but that has so that might have some ramification. But the idea is really important. Like utilize the time you spend in commute, right? That's really interesting. And you spoke about your experience at LinkedIn, the emphasis on building a culture. We have seen that throughout your career you have been emphasizing creating a deep sense of culture within the organization. So how do you infuse values and vision into the DNA of the company?
Yeah. So I can give you maybe one example, Avinash. So one thing that I'm very clear when I do some interviews, it's quite some time since I've done, but I tell the people who hire me, I don't like to be micromanaged and I don't like to micromanage, right? But rather what I do with myself and my team, whoever that I work, different teams, is build a sense of accountability and ownership, right? Which is very, very important. And there's a huge difference between responsibility and accountability, and had the opportunity to learn this very early in my career. Responsibility is, Manuel, you do this, I would just do that, right? Accountability is, Manuel, do this, but I'll go over and above 2 or 3 steps to find out what is the solution. Should I stop here, or there is a different thing that I have to achieve by doing this? So I think that is very, very important, instilling the accountability and ownership to anyone. The second thing, if you have to instill this company-wide, is to provide one goal, company-wide goal. You may be from different departments, it doesn't matter, right? As a company, we need to achieve. For all you know, marketing will provide leads, SDR will churn it, and sales guys will go and close it. But all of this will not happen with the help of product. All of this will not help without the help of customer experience or success. All of this will not happen without, let's say a finance or a HR, right? So everyone in the team is important. Everyone's work, effort is important to achieve that goal, right? And if you're able to instill this from day one, I think you will see a great, great difference in the company that you work with.
Right. So I ask a little bit of controversial question here. So have you heard of the term growth hacking?
Yeah.
Right. So what are your thoughts on that?
See, I'm still old school of thoughts. I don't like to, do any jugaad.
Yeah, which is a big part of growth hacking.
Which is why I'm very bluntly and clearly telling, it is okay to say no. It is okay to say this is not happening. It is okay to reveal the right picture in front of your leadership, in front of your investors, in front of your board. It's okay, right? If you're not able to achieve today, you may achieve tomorrow, or you may not achieve. But being true to yourself, being true to, your leadership, to your investors and board is very, very important. I think that will go a long way, right? And that's what I've seen in a lot of companies. I remember Deep Nishar, who was the chief product officer at LinkedIn, he also always used to emphasize on building company which will last for centuries. And you cannot build a company that can last for centuries without having your ethos and cultures and values straight, right? So I think it is okay not to do this jugaad, have a slower growth, but eventually achieve what you want to achieve. And there are great examples of it, right? Like a lot of bootstrap companies also achieve billions of dollars, right? So I feel that growth hacking is short term, but doing it straight the right way is very important from a long-term perspective.
Okay, very interesting and counterintuitive. I won't say counterintuitive. I would say against the prevailing wisdom of these days, right? So yeah, very interesting thoughts there. Moving on, right? You spoke about building relationships, right? But one of the crucial part of building relationships is the relationship is tested when there is some negotiation, right? Because at the end of the day, right, we have to do business and we have to have some uncomfortable conversations, right? Why negotiation skills are very crucial for sales guy, first of all. And could you share any instance where your negotiation prowess tuned the tide in a critical deal?
So one of the things that I've heard and experienced and I followed till today is never say no in a negotiation, right?
Yeah.
Never reveal the best price out there in the negotiation. You can always say, I'll come back to you. I'll work out something for you, right? Let me know what is your expectation, right?
Yeah.
So I think you need to understand what is the limit that the customer is willing to pay for you. And, it is okay not to win certain deals.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of carrying a baggage, it is okay to leave money on the table. And I've done a lot of deals like that, right? Where I've left money on the table. And after 2 months, 3 months, they come back and say, hey, listen, let's, start working with you, right? So if you're able to, showcase the value proposition, if you're able to solve their use cases, and if it's only money that, the other person is looking at negotiation, it is okay. You can go give him the best rate. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it's still okay. It's okay to leave money on the table. And I've seen multiple times people coming back and working with us, right? And there are multiple times that I've also said people not working with us. They look for a cheaper solution. That is okay, right? Instead of carrying them to a baggage, reducing your gross profits and gross margin, it's okay, not to work with certain deals, right? But you have to be transparent. You have to be very clear. You have to say, this is the benchmark. This is what we can do. This is something that we can't do. Setting the expectation is also very important, right, in that negotiation. But two things that I wouldn't do is say no during the negotiation. I would not say no, and also never reveal the final price in that negotiation. Always say that, let me work this out. Come back. Let me speak to my leadership. Let me speak to my, who are the higher authorities, and come back.
Right. Very interesting. And, see, because this is something even I struggle with a lot, right? Very great advice that first try to make user understand like why you are the best solution provider to his or her problem, right? But there's always an inclination that they want to kind of test the waters. Okay, what is the range of the pricing that you are having, right? Because they also want to understand, because in B2B there are like people who are selling it for peanuts, and then people who are selling it for the cost of diamonds, right? So they want to understand where do you fall, right? So how do you communicate your pricing without actually compromising your ability to set the price later?
I think this goes a couple of steps before, Avinash, right? If you're negotiating, most probably you're negotiating with the head of procurement or your head of finance or CFO, right? But between you reaching to your CFO and reaching to your end user, there's a lot of steps, right? There's typically a SaaS journey sales cycle would take anywhere between 2 to 3 months. So which means you would have put in all to minimum 2 to 3 months of effort, and you would have spoken to your ICP. What is important is you build a champion within that organization.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know what ICP is, would you care to give them the
ICP is nothing but ideal customer profile. Right?
yeah.
Within the entire sales process, there is decision maker, influencer, and user. These are the three levels of people that you talk to. Now, what's been interestingly in the last couple of years is while marketing guy might be your ICP, he might be the end user. Today, product guys become very important. They are a sub-user of marketing, right? Then your finance guy becomes very important. Then your, procurement guy becomes important. So it is a must that, not just look at, the product guy, look at the marketing guy, analytics guy, finance guy, procurement guy. So you need to map the entire organization. And within that organization, as I said, who is a decision maker, who is a influencer, who is a user. And you also need to understand who is your champion, who is your detractor,
Right.
who's a blocker for you, right? So you need to have a champion. So the role of a champion is give him all the ammunition, give him all the, data points that he required so that he presents you as a right solution, presents you as a premium solution. If you don't give him the necessary data points, you're going to get what you're going to get. But if you have given him all the required data points and case studies and whatever, when he's going to present it internally, he's going to say the best out there. Then the negotiation becomes easy, right? And also one of the things that I would recommend is for, all the, businesses out there, as a mindset, right? I have the first meeting, the customer will say, send me the proposal. No, you don't have to send, right? Does he know your tool completely? Does he understand your product can solve all the use cases? Does he have any other integration related questions, any other risk related or, let's say InfoSec related questions? Solve for all of these. Once he's convinced in all of these, that's the proposal should be the last thing that you should be sending. It's very easy said than be done. But, if you're able to do this, then your negotiation becomes easy. People are not looking at, more mediocre product and, negotiating. If they're looking at the best product out there, they will not negotiate. They might negotiate, but they will not negotiate like what they do with your mediocre product. So I think it's very important that you set yourself for success, you set your product for success, and then negotiation will automatically be seen.
Very interesting. Yeah, completely, agree with your thoughts there. But, for young entrepreneurs who listen to our podcast a lot, my question, sometimes they ask me the question is that how to have that initial meeting, right? Because that's a really difficult challenge in itself. So what advice would you have for young startups building a SaaS products, solving a niche problem? How do they have that first meeting with their ICP?
So I think it all works within you and your network. And I think network plays a very, very important role. It can be as simple as your angel investors. It can be as simple as your VCs. It can be as simple as at a very early stage, you might not have VCs, but it can be your college that you studied, your alumni. It can be mutual connections. I think LinkedIn is a great tool, right? Where you can reach out to people and ask for connection and have a conversation. I think LinkedIn has worked the best for me, even when I had to go and explore new markets, be it Sri Lanka, be it Middle East, right? So the first, tool that I would use, send out a connection request and introduce myself and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm traveling to your place and happy to meet you. And this is the context. Give them the context as to why you're reaching out. I think that's how we can go about it. Ask your friends. One thing that I always say is don't be ashamed to ask help. Everyone needs help at some point in time, right? Unless you ask, people on the other side will not know you need help, right? So I think it's very important that you seek help and, there are people to help.
Very interesting. So now it's rapid fire round time. Are you ready?
Of course.
Awesome. So quickly, name one book that every aspiring entrepreneur should read.
Well, as I told you earlier, I'm not an avid book reader, but one thing that I would recommend is a book on negotiation, Never Split a Difference, right? That's very interesting. This can be beneficial and useful for both personal and professional life.
Yeah, I have used in both the scenarios. Yeah, it is an amazing resource, must read. Okay, next question is, what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
The first thing that I do when I wake up is spend some time in prayer. Just be grateful for the new day. Just be grateful for you have a shelter, you have clothing, you are able to live. I got a sense of huge importance of life. While we see a lot of deaths happening at an young age today, but during COVID, we lost a lot of our friends, right? And within family, extended family. So I think you should be grateful for the very presence of you living. So I start my day with prayer and the usual chores of getting ready, and I start work early as well.
That's great. Most of the people just pick up their phone, including me. So I'm happy that you don't have this bad habit. Moving on, next question is, if you could teleport anywhere right now, where would you go?
Well, I would go to a place which is just filled with nature, no internet, no mobile connection. Just spend your time in serene nature and maybe with birds and animals around you. Just be peaceful.
Great answer. Share something surprising about yourself that most people don't know.
Well, I've had some hidden talents, I must say, but I like to sing. I've been part of a choir and I led vocals in the choir, and I've also had a touch of learning some instruments, right from keyboard to guitar to bit of a violin, drums and saxophone. So along with that, I'm also an audiophile. I like to listen to music in a very old systems. Most of my setup is over 30 years old, so I enjoy music as well.
Okay, very interesting. The one business buzzword you love to hate.
In the current scenario, it is artificial intelligence. AI. It's more abused term, and everybody wants to have AI attached to their business, which I think it's really sad. This was ML maybe 8-10 years back. A lot of people used to use ML, and now it's AI.
Right. And now these is generative AI actually.
Absolutely.
Last question. What golden nugget would you offer to budding entrepreneurs?
I think, be true to yourself, right? And whatever you see out there in the market as success is only 1%, right? 99% of startups fail. So be open-minded, be open-hearted to accept some failures, right? Don't think the entire journey is going to be peaceful. Most of you know it. It is a lonely journey. But don't go by whatever you see around today. The glorious ones, the unicorns, they've put in a lot of hard work, sweat, blood, right, and commitment to achieve that. But there are 99% of startups who fail, which don't even come up, right? So be open, acknowledge the fact you need to learn, acknowledge the fact there will be failures. And then I think over a period of time, success will come. And when success comes, always look back from where you came in. Don't enjoy the moment, but don't get stagnated with success around your head. So that would be my tip.
Very interesting. As we are running out of time, I'll ask just one last question with you. As someone who is exceptionally organized, how do you stay motivated and creative during demanding times?
Very, very interesting question, Avinash. I think, if you have some true ambition and aspiration to achieve, which is realistic in nature, you will be able to work towards it, regularly. This is exactly what I tell is don't set unrealistic ambition, unrealistic goals where you will not be able to achieve. So break those goals into smaller pieces and, achieve it for a week, happy. Achieve it for 2 weeks, happy. Didn't achieve third week, it's okay. Maybe you want to achieve it in the fourth week. So I think it's very important that you set priorities, set goals. And I actually follow 3 or now it's become 5 goals that I tell the team as well, right? The first thing that you need to do as an individual, be it professional or personal life, is have a crystal clear focus on what you want to achieve. For you to focus on this, you need to also defocus on certain things. For you to focus on A, you need to defocus on X. That is very important. By design, we are reactive in nature. Try to be proactive in everything that you do, right? It will take time, but eventually you will achieve what you need to achieve. Be proactive. Third is consistency. right? You want to be better than yesterday, than last week, than last month. So consistency cannot be replaced by anything. The fourth point is discipline. As an individual, if you need to do this, you need to do this, right? So you need to be organized. You need to be disciplined. Lastly is demand excellence. Demand excellence from yourself, from your peers, from your managers, from everybody, right? So these are from some five, nuggets that I have, um, that I follow, and I ask everyone else also to follow, who has been working with me and who continue to work with me as well.
Great answer there, Manuel. I'll probably use this in my office as well. Thanks a lot for joining us on this podcast. It was very informative and entertaining.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure, Avinash. Thanks for asking me to be part of this podcast. Thank you.
No, the pleasure was all ours.
As we wrap up this episode, we hope you are leaving with a wealth of knowledge and a renewed sense of motivation. Remember, the path to success is paved with challenges, but with the right strategies and a passion for excellence, anything is possible. Thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Yes Users podcast for more inspiring stories and expert insights from the best in the business. Until next time, keep innovating, stay motivated, and continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Goodbye and take care.